A very good morning. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Tax Mochuzi Show. My name is Joanne Kansime and I'll be hosting this very episode on ledger reconciliation. And to speak about it is an expert from the Ledger Reconciliation Division, and I'll let her introduce herself before we get into the discussion. Please, Kathy, introduce yourself.
Good morning, our esteemed taxpayers. My name is Catherine Otwiya. I am an officer in ledger reconciliation. When I'm called an expert, I'm delighted, but I mean, we're all still learning. But I'm from ledger reconciliation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Many people see a ledger and they get really, really scared. So could you please take us through what a ledger is truly?
A ledger is simply a summary of the taxpayer's transactions. And to me, there is nothing to be scared about when you hear about a ledger. Maybe the one that scares them is tax, we call it tax ledger. But that shouldn't be scaring them. When you hear about a ledger, just imagine, even bank accounts have those statements. But here, the only difference is we have a tax ledger. Whatever transaction you make on your tin, if you go right now and register a tin for your business, whatever transaction you make from filing a return, when you file a return, it is recorded on the ledger, and that creates a liability. So we'll be expecting a payment. When you make a payment, it also goes on your ledger and it writes off. So basically, whatever is done on the ledger is on your tin is recorded on the ledger, and that is what forms a ledger. You will see returns, they will see assessments, they will see the interest, the penalties, what we have been preaching about, we are waiving all that. So a summary of the taxpayer's transactions is a ledger.
No, before we get to the waiver, because now that has caught my attention, but I would love to also have the viewers understand what now reconciliation is. Because now we've understood what a ledger is, now we want to know what is ledger reconciliation.
Now, ledger reconciliation, when we talk about ledger reconciliation, we simply want the taxpayer's transactions to be complete, accurate, and up to date. So what happens is the taxpayer has to sit with an officer in ledger reconciliation to make sure that what their transaction is, if they made a payment and they have a receipt, for example, if they filed a return and they have the return notice, the return filing notice, is it reflecting on the ledger? So basically, we are looking at what the taxpayer is doing and what we have recorded as URA. Are they matching? Do we agree? In other words, we want the taxpayer and URA to agree that this is what is happening in the taxpayer's team. That is basically
what reconciliation is. So that's very clear. Thank you so much, Kathy. Now going back to that big waiver that is happening right now. Who is it for? And how is it my concern as a taxpayer? Why should it concern me?
I love that question. Everywhere I go, they're asking me, what is my concern? What is it for? Our taxpayers, this waiver is for all taxpayers who have liabilities, who have outstanding penalty and interest as at 30th June 2024. It doesn't matter whether you're a businessman, whether you're an employee, whether, so long as you have that liability. All we are saying is pay your principal tax by 30th June 2026. So long as it is outstanding as at 30th June 2024. And we shall waive off all the penalties. If URA has called you, our dear taxpayer, and has told you that, look, we are demanding 30 million from you, you can ask them, this liability relates to what period? And what is the interest? What are the penalties? You will be surprised to find that on the 30 million, you're only required to pay like maybe 15, 17. Isn't it beautiful that a taxpayer will save the remaining?
It's an actual relief.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that waiver is on. Please make use of it.
You spoke of it being as that, the debts as that 30th June. Now, what if someone has debts that are to 2023, 2024? Do they qualify? Because I saw that question somewhere.
Unfortunately, 2023, 2024 doesn't qualify for the waiver.
So what do they mean by as that 30th June 2024?
What we mean when we say as at 30th June 2024, we mean any penalties and interest outstanding as at that date or before. Anything after 1st July 2024, there is nothing to waive. So we are not waiving. We have already moved on.
True.
So please make sure you make that payment on that liability. But anything below 2022, 2023, please make your payments. 2020, 2021, we shall waive.
I believe that's very clear to every taxpayer and everyone who had that same concern. Someone also asked, if I realize I didn't declare some income back in 2022, is it safer to use voluntary disclosure now, or does the tax waiver cover me automatically?
The tax waiver will only cover, and I cannot stress this enough, if it falls within the waiver period. Make sure that if you are going to use the tax waiver window over voluntary disclosure, it is for that period that is covered by 30th June 2024. In case it is not, please, our dear taxpayers, go ahead and go through the voluntary disclosure window. But we would advise do the voluntary disclosure because for it has no expiry date.
True.
Yeah. You see, the waiver we're saying by 1st July, by 30th June 2026, we are done. The moment you cross midnight and we reach 1st July,
it doesn't apply anymore.
It doesn't apply, but the voluntary disclosure is on. You just have to disclose that this is the tax I haven't paid in 2022. Here is the money, and interest and penalties gone. So, the URA good?
What a relief for a taxpayer. So if you fall under that bracket, I would say please take it on while it still lasts, because I think we still have about 4 months.
Yeah, we have 4 months.
4 months and a half. Yeah, take it on. So back to ledger reconciliation.
Yes.
Someone asked, why should a small business owner or an employee with multiple income sources care about ledger reconciliation? If they've already paid their taxes via mobile money or the bank, why should they care?
Well, you should care because, first of all, when you deposit that money, yeah, it is on a larger side guarantee that it is going to be deposited. But for those cases, those out of the line, that maybe it has posted in the wrong period, maybe it has posted on the wrong tax type. Maybe you want to pay for income tax and mistakenly it goes the other side. Maybe you want to pay for Feb 2023 and it mistakenly goes to March 2023. And it creates a credit where it is not yet this side, there is a liability. So ledger reconciliation, you should be concerned because we shall tell you that either your ledger is okay or this is what we have to do, and it becomes okay. And then maybe you have paid a lesser amount. You never know. And then you are going to just accrue penalties and interest for nothing. You understand? So doing a ledger reconciliation just keeps your mind at peace that I know what is happening on my ledger. It's very important.
My ledger is clean.
Yes. I always advise directors, even when you have a tax consultant, they are good. But once in a while, what is stopping you from asking, how is my ledger? Walking into the ledger reconciliation unit and getting to know, being on top of things. People can do for you everything, but when it comes to tax, please, you have to be ahead of your game. And we are saying ledger reconciliation is here to help you, to support you, to make you understand, so that even when someone is doing things, you have an idea. That's why a small business person should be interested, should have that interest that let me create some time I be concerned about reconciling my ledger.
Now you've spoken about them coming to reconcile
Yeah.
their ledgers. How is it done? It must be physical, or they can always give a call or something.
No, no,
How
no,
how
no, no,
does
no, no.
it work?
No, ledger reconciliation is not majorly physical, but the physical part is also there. There are people in this world who say,
I must come.
For me, if it is not face to face, it is not happening.
Sure.
So we take them in. We have the whole fully fledged section. You call us experts. We are here, but they can call. We have our toll-free lines. Can I read them?
Yes,
Yeah,
please do.
they can call. We have our toll-free line 0800-117-000 or 0800-217-000. They can send an email on services@ura.go.ug. They can WhatsApp order 0772140000, but they can also use Touchpoint. Again, so Touchpoint is actually very interesting. I don't know whether you have told our taxpayers about it, but you can, as a taxpayer, you can actually log in and raise your query and be like, you know what, for me, my ledger, I don't agree, and that problem will be solved in a day or two. You will get feedback. That is, I always urge taxpayers to use it. But even an email, it reaches there, it will reach ledger reconciliation. Once it reaches our customer care team, they will forward it to ledger reconciliation and we shall work on it.
You handle
so
it.
it's not necessarily that you have to walk in. We have all those platforms where your issue, a taxpayer's issue, can reach us and we shall be able to support.
I believe that's very clear. Thank you very much, Kathy. Because I was going to ask you about ledger errors and what usually causes them and how do they deal with them. But then you've told us we can always give you a call in case we have a problem, we don't agree with something that is on the ledger. So thank you very much. Another person asked in relation again to payment, if there is a person that pays their tax via PRN, payment registration number, but the payment doesn't show up on their ledger immediately. What should a taxpayer do if their payment hasn't reflected after 48 hours? And what usually causes the delay in money banked or paid via phone to reflect?
So I love the fact that they have said immediately. That one that communicates that there are times they make their payment, actually most times they make the payments and they reflect immediately. That is kudos to URA for making things swift.
Easier.
But what causes that sometimes is the network, and other times it's the human errors. And that also takes me back about the importance of reconciliation. So we are saying still they can use the other platforms to reach us. Please, 48 hours, that is a long time for a PRN not to reflect. Please reach out and tell us that, please, I made my payment of 50 million on pay. This is the PRN, it hasn't reflected. Trust me, we shall get at the bottom of it and we shall support you to make sure that your payment reflects if everything else is in line.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we are going to the landlord. You're going to rental tax. For landlords or tenants, rental tax ledgers, they say, often get messy when tenants change. How can a property owner ensure they aren't being billed for a previous tenant's tax areas?
Okay. I love that question because it shows that someone wants to take responsibility. It shows that they care what happens to their ledgers or to the team or to what they take over.
Yes.
So probably it is very important for them to be able to make sure that the changes are in the tenancy agreements. They are included. Please make sure that whenever you are taking on a property as a new tenant, you are a new landlord, not a tenant. As a new landlord, you have discussed the tax issues. Identify. Actually, let me take them back. It is even okay to tell this person who is selling to you that let us go to ledger reconciliation and
ensure
see what is happening with this. what is happening with this property, because you don't want to take on tax that is not yours.
True.
So make sure that you make the transfers correctly and you reconcile those teams that have been handling those properties to make sure that they have been paying their taxes appropriately. That is the only way you can avoid, as a new landlord, to take on tax
areas that are not yours. True.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that was so clear for the person that was really concerned about that. He also answered this question. He was asking, can a taxpayer perform ledger reconciliation themselves through the URA portal, or they must visit the URA office in person?
I answered, but I can
Partly,
just build
yeah,
on.
yes.
And neither URA or the taxpayer can do reconciliation in isolation. The way it's reconciled, you know, when people are
There have to be two parties there.
husband and wife problems, husband cannot sit alone
True.
and reconcile. Neither can a wife. So it takes two to reconcile. We need the taxpayer. The taxpayer needs us to sit down and reconcile the ledger.
So it has to be the taxpayer and the taxman together to reconcile that ledger.
But not physically. And that one is what I have to.
It doesn't necessarily.
It doesn't necessarily. If I'm saying both of us have to be there and reconcile, I don't mean physically. Even an email, you are doing this together. You're saying my payment is missing. I am saying, okay, let us review. You're saying my return, I filed 50. Why am I saying 52? I am replying you. So that conversation is still an engagement. It is still a ledger reconciliation involving two
persons. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, for a citizen who has never opened their portal,
yes,
they don't understand all that, or they've never done it. How would you describe the tax ledger in simple terms for them to understand it?
Summary of a taxpayer's transactions. I said, as simple as that.
Just your summary.
In simple terms. Actually, let me break it down in the simplest term, using an example. Before you have a TIN, you are not in the records. Like, I will use myself. Before I registered for my TIN for employment income, because I am being paid, I got a job, and my employer was like, you have to have a TIN. I registered for a TIN. That is okay. Then how does now a tax ledger come in? Then now I create my cabotic. I'm like, I am a very compliant citizen. I want to develop this country. I want to be part. I want to contribute. I'm like, I need to start filing my returns. When you file the first return, you have started creating your ledger.
Okay.
You have started creating transactions. You make the payment. That is 1 month, the second month, the third month. You're creating transactions. So that is the summary we are always talking about. I think we shouldn't be having problems with the tax, because someone is supposed to file and pay.
That's it.
So, but we have so many, and we are here to support as ledger reconciliation.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now, if I realize I filed the return with the wrong figures, and it has created a huge liability on my ledger, what is the fastest way to amend that return to fix the balance?
The easiest way to amend the return is to log in. But taxpayers, do you all have login details? Like, do you all know we have a portal where you can log in and be in charge of your ledger and be in charge of your transactions? A taxpayer can file. A taxpayer can amend their return. A taxpayer can generate a PRN. A taxpayer can object. A taxpayer can do all those things by just going to the URA portal. On our website, you choose URA portal, you log in. And that is the part where you amend your return. You just go, you log in, you go under returns, then return amendments. And you amend your return. And the only thing that remains is for URA to review and approve. But it doesn't hurt to follow up. If it takes long, our dear taxpayers, you have to be in charge. Things can happen. Maybe it was missed.
True.
You get? There is a lot. And I'm not excusing that it should be missed, but maybe it was. Maybe there is an issue with it. It doesn't take anything to follow up. That is why they call being on top of your game.
To be in charge.
To be in charge. Be in charge of your letter. Yes.
That is very clear. And also to remind the taxpayers that on our URA TV via YouTube, you can be able to watch all those how-to videos, how to file a return, how to amend a return, how to do all those things that you have inquiries about. Just subscribe to the channel and keep on getting updates as we update them, because we update them at least every 6 months to remind you of the steps you're supposed to take. So thank you very much. Now another one asked, many service providers have 6% withholding tax deducted by their clients. How do they ensure these credits are properly posted to the ledger so they don't overpay at the end of the year?
I love that question. You know why? Because very many people are not paid. They do the work, they deduct their money, but it's not remitted. And I think that's why someone is complaining. Do you know, doing work, maybe you have a restaurant business and then you're offering services to a certain company, a bank or an NGO, and then at the end of the month they are paying you 30 million, but they have to deduct the 6%. You expect to find it on your ledger, only to hear that these people deducted my money and did not remit. That is not acceptable. So a taxpayer has to ensure that their TIN is included. How do they make sure? They can ask for credit withholding tax certificates. When someone from the what do they call them? Those organizations,
the one who employed them.
The one who employed them, they can ask for those withholding tax, because that is the only way you can be sure that your TIN has been included in their return, withholding tax return, and your withholding tax credit has been remitted, and it is going to reflect on your ledger. Otherwise, you cannot just say and go, show me.
Show me that you paid.
You will be like, we paid. But in order for you to be sure, you can be like, okay, give me my certificate.
To prove that you paid.
Prove that you paid. Yes.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Catherine is very elaborate, and I hope we can always bring her back to take us through all these topics when it comes to ledgers. But as we come to the end, I have one more question. What is that one document every Ugandan must keep safely to prove their ledger is clean?
It can't be one document because the transactions are so many. But for people that are watching and have come for ledger reconciliation, you will notice that when you come and you say, my payment is missing, we shall ask, do you have a deposit slip? Where is the PRN?
We need the evidence.
We need the evidence. Actually, in URA, if you're out there and you have dealt with URA, they will tell you that evidence is the word. I filed a return of 50 million. I am seeing 40. We are going to ask, where is the evidence? If you say, I objected, they sent for me a message that they allowed, but it is not, we shall ask, where is the evidence? I wrote a letter.
Where is the evidence?
There are very many documents that between a taxpayer and URA that a taxpayer should keep. Whenever you get, as a taxpayer, whenever you get anything from URA, it is advisable to keep it archived. So it's not only one document. Everything that relates to tax, keep intact for a good period of time, because these things can always come out. Anyone can always ask in order to to make sure that your tax ledger is clean. We'll go back to ledger reconciliation.
Sure.
Yeah.
So meaning for you to actually reconcile properly, you should have your records kept properly. The evidence, the proof, and it doesn't take much. Just keep them. So we're coming to the end of the show. It's been a really, really fruitful, productive, good, engaging conversation. I too have learned a lot. So thank you very much with our taxpayers. Maybe for the parting shots, you can tell us something you'd love to share with the taxpayers, and we'll close.
What I would love to share with you, our dear beloved taxpayers, is not to be scared of the ledger, not to be scared of URA, not to be scared of tax. Tax is something that is happening all over the world. Sure. And like I always say, we are not without our taxpayers. URA cannot be without the taxpayers. They are the ones that are enabling almost everything. Actually, sure. Everything, the roads, the schools, everything that the government is providing. It's because the taxpayer is coming up and saying, this is my tax, I am making my contribution. So our esteemed taxpayers, pay your taxes and we develop this country together. But above all, I implore you to take advantage of the waiver. The waiver is here. It has about 4 months and a half to run. Please pay your taxes by 30th June 2026 for liabilities, that is penalties and interest outstanding, as at 30th June 2024. But not to mean that they shouldn't pay this either. Please, sure. Take responsibility and pay everything to zero. And in that, ledger reconciliation is here to help you to actually stipulate what tax is what should be paid, what can be waived. Make use of us.
Thank you very much. And that's it for today. For more information, please ensure to call our numbers 0800 117 000 or 0800 217 000, or you can also send an email, yes, as Catherine said, services@ura.go.ug, and our WhatsApp number, which will also be slated down below. And please comment. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We shall answer them. We shall bring back Catherine to take us through these other questions that you will have. But I know for sure that they have understood. Thank you very much, Catherine. Have a good day. Bye-bye.